Hello guys and girls of YouTube out there in YouTube land. I've been watching quite a few tool loadout videos, same as what you're doing right now, and it's always curious just to see how other people load out their bags, what kind of tools they carry, because everyone's different, everyone's unique. There's no right or wrong way to load out your bag because we're all different and we all like to work different. So it's always just good just to just be a bit nosy and just see how people, what kind of tools they stock. So I thought I'd do mine. I thought I'd do my tool bag and do a load out video of it. Start off with the bag. I've had plenty of toolboxes and tool bags over the years, and I've grown to prefer these open tote ones. So I shelled out the money because they're not cheap on these Veto Pro Pack OTXL. Yeah, it's not cheap, but I would recommend buying one. It has been a great investment. 2 years old now. I've 2 years I had this, and yeah, it is. I love this bit of kit. I absolutely love it. So, and I know this is going to last me for a good few years to come. So yeah, definitely love this bag. We'll start on this side. Tape measure. I've always been the Stanley Fat Max. Always used them, but I thought I'd try this Milwaukee tape measure. The thing that appealed to me was the fact it had measurements on both sides, which sometimes does come in handy, but honestly I've been a bit disappointed with it. It's worn out quicker than I would have liked it to. The old Fat Max has held up a lot better than this one, so I think yeah, so that's just a spare. I keep this Stanley one in my tool vest, and a little bit disappointed with this one as well. Came with a detachable wide blade on the end of it. I didn't know it was detachable until it came off, and now I've lost it. So a bit frustrating. So when I do get a new tool, new tape measure, I'll just be going to the old trusty Fat Max that I've had for donkey's years. Yeah. So right angle bit for getting in those hard to reach places. It says, yeah, it's proved its worth already. I haven't even had it that long, but yeah, it's definitely handy. Definitely handy to throw in the bag. Compass, just for doing scribes, scribing skirtings and trim that you need to do. So that proves really handy. I picked this as one trick I picked up off another YouTuber. It was an American, if I remember, he serves me right. He used this painter's knife, painter's blade, for spreading out glue, and I thought I'd give it a try. It was 3-4 quid, but it's great. Leave the glue to dry, you can just scrape it off and throw it back in the bag. I was always using brushes, and wasn't cleaning them out, they were going rock hard, binning them, so I thought I'd try that, and it's actually worked out really well. Now drills, I always like to have just a little drill in my day-to-day bag. Had this one for 5-6 years. This is actually a raffle prize, and you know what, it served me really well. But it's an old brushed one, and brushes were started to smell, so I thought I'd just relegate that one, just live here in my workshop in case I ever needed it. So treat myself to this Milwaukee Fuel one, M12. I don't know the model number, but appealed to me because it has detachable heads on it, so I thought that would come in really handy, and it actually has. So ordinary drill, just all your regular drill bits for drilling, you detach it, you can put your impact bits, screwdriver bits in there. They actually stay in there, which is actually really good. You haven't got to take it out, it actually stays in there. So if I need to get somewhere tight up against the surface, it can drill right up tight rather than being forced to go at an angle, right up tight. So that's come in really handy. And then little right angle bit. Difficulty with holding this is you need to hold that while holding the drill. Sometimes you just need to really reach in, put a screw in somewhere that's really awkward, and yeah, that's got me out of a hole, more than one hole already since I've had it. So that has been, I really love that bit of kit. Spare battery for it. I don't honestly have to charge the batteries that often. I don't use the drill that hard, so I don't have to charge that often, but they do hold their charge for a while. Tiny little stabilo level. You think these things are a bit gimmicky, but it comes in handy. Magnetic on 2 sides, and yeah, it does come in handy sometimes, setting in a box, setting in a little electrical box or something like that. That's come in handy. Now, I used to get frustrated sometimes when you'd be doing something and you just need to cut off one little bit of wood, and you don't want to go back to the van to get a saw. So I picked up this little Trend folding knife, a very fine blade and flexible as well, so it's great for getting in, cutting off a little bit of dowel or notching a bit of timber rather than going back to the van to get a saw. So pick that up, and yeah, I've actually loved having that in there. Oh, just a pair of pliers. Had these, don't even know what make they are. Had these donkey's ears. The nail puller, I just use them for nails. I know that they're used for wiring up rebar, or that's what they're designed for, but it's great for just for cutting off nails, pulling out nails, so they've come in really handy. Little tiny pry bar, again, just one of those little tools that just comes in handy if you ever need to. So yeah, that's just a great little addition that I've just thrown into the tool bag. Little Purdy scraper. Now I like these little foldaway ones because it just doesn't take up much space. You just tuck it away, and yeah, it just doesn't take up any space at all. So that's been really useful. A little disto, little distance measurer. I've gone for it's a Leica disto, just for working out quotes, doing measurements. You can work out measurements, skirtings, decking or anything like that, work out the measurements nice and quickly. Yeah, that has served me well the last 3-4 years. And screwdriver bits, it's always been a pain to organise screwdriver bits and hold them in my tool bag. So I actually picked up this Weira case empty off eBay. You can get them loaded out with bits, but I just picked this up empty and just loaded it out with my own bits, and the common bits that I use, and just in fact it just folds away and I can throw it in my bag. Also this little tiny right angle little screwdriver, again just to get in those little hard to reach places, and that just lives in there and that gets me out of trouble. But yeah, that's just perfect. I can close it away, throw it in the bag, forget about it. What else have we got in here? Just a little block plane. Again, it's something I've had just for years. I just like having just a small block plane that I just carry with me, and yeah, that just comes usual. Okay, screwdrivers. I do like the Weira screwdrivers. I've got a 1 and 2 Phillips, 1 and 2 Posi. That, yeah, they're very good. These are the laser tipped ones, which are actually very good. I've been very pleased with them, very pleased indeed. And the chisel screwdrivers, you can see which one I use the most, just the big flat one. But yeah, they're just, yeah, because the steel goes all the way through, bash it with a hammer, I haven't got to worry about it. And I was always using those and lacquering them, so finally picked up some chisel screwdrivers, just some flat ordinary screwdrivers, 4mm, 5.5mm flat screwdrivers, and I put together, because I don't want to use all these pockets for my screwdrivers, so I just got some sections of conduit and just glued them together, and I can just sit in the bag, and then all the screwdrivers can just sit in there, and yeah, that just holds them up and out the way nicely. I just use this is just for bashing out, just, yeah, don't get, yeah, it's just abused, absolutely abused, this screwdriver. But yeah, we all have at least one screwdriver in our bags that we abuse. Just an old screwdriver I can put in bits if I need to, but again, something I just keep in there. A little stubby way down here, again, an invaluable little thing when you need it. It's just tucked away there, don't need it very often, but when you do need it, it's there. This was another little thing I picked up off, what's the guy's name? It was Dan's Tool Room. A plasterboard punch. I'd never heard of this. If you ever need to set a raw plug in plasterboard, I was always using just ordinary number 2 Phillips and bashing it through with that. But I saw this, and it's actually set for 5mm, 6mm and 7mm raw plugs to set in, and it is so much better. It is so much easier. But I didn't realise something like this existed. So yeah, Dan's Tool Room. Yeah, you can look him up. He does reviews on tools, and yeah, it's just one little handy hint I picked up from him. And then just a little, I use this just for staples, picking up staples, leaving them up, and yeah, that's just handy for that. Nail punches. I always had the old steel ones. If I've got some lying around, I've had these ones for donkey's years. When they're tucked away down there, I just could never see them, couldn't find them. So I picked up these just because they're just bright and I can see them, so they just stick out. So I can actually find them, which is good. And the other thing I've got up here is this spider holster, if it wants to come off. So this I picked up to clip my drill or impact driver to my belt. Let me just go impact driver. So you get normally the metal clips that hook onto your pockets, but they were still falling off sometimes. So I picked this up, hang this on my belt, clips in, and it actually locks into place, and it won't fall off. Just flick it with your thumb, you can take it off, and yeah. So if I need to carry a drill or an impact driver, then yeah, and that has been really good. I've actually, yeah, that has come in really handy. So I'm not worrying about dropping my drill, damaging customers' floors, breaking my drill, breaking my impact. So I don't keep it on my belt all the time, just as and when I need it. Front pocket. Here I just keep spare leads for my picker pencils. I've always been one for losing pencils all the time, and it's incredibly frustrating. But a couple of years ago I picked up these picker pencils, which again live in my tool vest, and because they go back into the holster each time I use them, the holster lives in my tool vest, drop it in, and the whole time I've had them I haven't lost them. Whereas pencils, I was always losing pencils and it was driving me nuts. So picked up those, and yeah, now I'll just stick with those. So I'll just keep my spare leads. I carry two. I have one just for ordinary lead, and I'll keep one in either a yellow or red, just for marking darker things that lead won't mark. And I'll just put a little bit of nail varnish, I think I put on the top of them, just so I could distinguish, so I'm not pulling out the wrong one. But yeah, that's definitely come in handy. This side, spare pencils, just in case. Little marksman for marking out deep holes. Just a little puff of chalk that it blows out, paint down the hole so you can mark that. That's coming incredibly handy. Just a little file. Don't know why that's in there. It does. Marking knife. Again, this has come in incredibly handy when you want to get something exact, because it sits right up against tight to the wood. This is a right-handed one, so you can get right flush up to the bit of work and mark it. You can get right-handed, left-handed ones, one that do both. I chose this right-handed one, and yeah, just for exact marking. Out with it. Some long bits to go on the impact on my drill, just to get in those hard to reach places. Random SDS bit. Why that's in there, I have no idea. This side, mallet. I use one with my chisels, but I don't actually carry my chisels in my tool bag. My chisels live in my van, my little compartment. I did put a tool, a van tour, and you can see my chisels. The one that I don't carry in there is this large 50mm. I used to carry all my chisels like that, have more than a line, but I wasn't using them every day, and it was just making the bag heavier and heavier. So if I need them for the day, I'll just take them out of the van, slide them in there, and then they're good to go, and then put them back in the van at the end of the day. But I haven't found a home for that in the van, so it just lives in my tool bag. Hammer, just hammer, east wing hanger, hammer. Yeah, well, nothing more can say about a hammer. Another pencil, mortise gauge, again for exact marking, little wheel there, just for marking. You can just tighten it up, scribe along the wood to mark it out as you need. If I'm doing any mortise joints or anything like that, and just lift it up, and that just protects the blade, so that's just tucked away. Combination square, I've got a big combination square. Again, this is beat up, had this for years, and it was only a cheap one then, but you always need to have a mortise combination square on hand, and just this little tiny mortise square, combination square. This one again, I could just easily throw into my tool vest, live in my pockets, and then I can always reach for it and I know it's there. So yeah. Ruler is just a folding ruler, again for when you want to mark out a bit more precisely. I'll use this rather than a tape measure. Angle finder, it's a Starrett angle finder. If I want to transfer angles to my mitre saw, it's actually really good because it gives me angles for a single cut, or it gives me for the double cut. If I'm doing a mitre, it'll give me angles for both sides, and it really is precise. Again, this is another thing that used to live in my van, but I've now moved it, so it now lives there. A speed square, yeah, you can't be without a speed square. Comes in so handy having a speed square. I've got two adjustable levels. I've got a large one and one that's slightly smaller. If there's a place that the large one can't go. Again, had this years. Might even poached this one off a friend, but that was years ago. Can't remember. But again, great for finding angles. Another one of those little things you think, will that come in handy? Little magnetizer. I picked this up. It's only like a £5, but it's those times that you just need to magnetize the bit just to hold the screw on, just to get when you're doing everything one-handed. Yeah, it's actually come in handy a few times, and a few random bits I keep just stored up here. I've got some long impact bits that are just stored up there. I keep, this is one level, 400mm, 450mm level, perfect. I can just throw it into the bag, perfect size, just for it to sit in there. If I need level, I can reach for it. Little pry bar, yeah, it's always hand over pry bar. I particularly like this one. It's great for getting nails up in something when you're lifting up floorboards. That will go right in underneath, and you don't make too much of a mess of it. But yeah, I have to have a little pry bar. A little crappy chisel. You have to have a crappy chisel just for bashing around. This is just an old one I just abuse if I ever need to chuck something, you know, chisel something out. Again, there's another little tiny, not even a torpedo level, but it's just, yeah, it just, sometimes you need to get a level into somewhere where the other levels are just a little bit too big. That just comes in handy. A little scribing tool that I picked up, and again, this is again come in handy for awkward scribes. So you can either set it to scribe to the wheel to run down something, or there's a fine point if there's lots of indents in any trim that you're scribing. So what's it called? Profiler. But yeah, so that has come in handy. Again, another one of those little things that used to live in the van, but I've now decided to change things around just a little bit, because we do, don't we? We're always chopping and changing. Nothing's ever 100% finished. It's always an ongoing project. Spare Stanley knife blades. plasterboard rasp, I should say, just for finishing off the edges of plasterboard. Yeah, cleans everything up. General rubbish and bits and pieces. And this one, I just tend to have random drill bits. I haven't actually found any decent organizer I can just organize my bits properly that I can just keep in here. I've always got my eye out, but haven't actually found one yet. So I just throw my random usual day-to-day drill bits in there, and then that's where they live. So that's my tool loadout. That's my general day-to-day bag. If you've seen anything that you think might come in handy, then great. That's what this video is here for. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day.